everybody, and welcome to our amazing bi-weekly, but not always bi-weekly Nerdletter Talk video where Yelena Perfeyeva, my esteemed colleague, and myself, Paul Moderman, we talk about the random things flying through our brains that we may or may not write about in our next letter. Sometimes it's prepped, sometimes it's like, OMG, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I think I'm somewhere between those two right now.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe let's start with you if you're okay, Yelena.
Sure.
Let's
Yeah.
throw
Yeah.
the ball to you. Tell us what you're thinking about.
Awesome. All right. So let's go. So so as usual, we do three stories each in our newsletters. Henceforth, we usually share at least three subjects for potential stories. Devtoberfest, as you know, it's an event that it started as a kind of prequel to SAP TechEd a few years ago,
Mhm.
but then it spread out into being now running before TechEd and also after TechEd. So you can see in their calendar, it's there was a break for the actual
It's
TechEd.
got a it's got a life of its own, but in the best way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So now this is really turned into totally fast for several weeks of all the
Mm.
developer development related topics in SAP space, and it covers wide variety of subjects. So really great event. I've already posted about it. I'm gonna write about this again, and I honestly just looking at the content here, I suspect this might not even be the last time. Maybe before year ends, I might write about this again, but it's just because it's really great event that just keeps on giving. Um, all right, so for this issue, I dug out this very interesting session about Jules ABAP developer capability. So there was a lot
Mm-hmm.
of noise, as everyone knows, unless you've been in coma for a few months. Some Joule AI blah 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 announcements at TechEd, including Joule capabilities for ABAP development. This, I think, is actually the first time when I'm seeing something resembling like reality and actually someone showing what it might look like for our developers. So
Mm-hmm.
really interesting video in this aspect. Um, what I did pick out from this, so first of all, really good, I think, presentation style. Again, very informal, not your typical boring SAP stuff.
Yep.
Um, really I mean, good demo, meaning that it's good in showing capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly, just like with many of SAP demos in general, and especially with AI use cases, I have to say it's a little underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the right way to put it, because you can see here, I mean, even if you don't read ABAP code, you can see what this code is doing here. It's like validate email format. And so this is just one of the cases here. It's not the case,
Mm-hmm.
but they're starting with it. So what they did, it's like, okay, Joule, now explain to us what this code does. And also they are doing some adding unit tests to it and some suggestions, etc., etc. To me, it's like, first of all, none of the methods in real life are like that. It's been, I think, the problem beginning with a good old unit test OpenSCP course, when they were taking super simple scenarios like, oh, take number five, like $5, and convert it into euros,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're gonna do stuff about it. It's nothing ever at all like that in real life web development. Never, almost never ever. So that's very simplistic use cases. That's
Mm-hmm.
been ongoing issue, I think, not just with this
Mm-hmm.
specific session in general with all SAP content. Second, I think, and that's what's not just Jules thing, but also if you go to ChatGPT, your result will be very similar. Where I think many people were also mentioning, well, what's how Joule is different from ChatGPT, and in this area, I see it really isn't. It does not like tell you the good suggestion. It tells you what you asked for, but sometimes the problem is that as a beginner you might not know what to ask for,
Mm-hmm.
because in this case I look at it and my first suggestion would be like buddy, what are you doing? Like there must be some kind of function already in SAP to validate email format. Why are you reinventing bicycle through your custom ABAP and using
Mm,
regex? And your variable naming is not even consistent here, like you're using Hungarian here, but not here. And it's so, it's showing a little bit, I think, of Jules' explanation. I could pick at every statement here. First of all, there is no boolean in ABAP. There is pseudo boolean. Technically, if we are
mm,
being precise,
yeah.
but this is just kind of general, I think, problems with the idea. It's a helpful tool if you know what to do with it. And this session actually starts with analogy about the tools which I semi liked because it is valid. They're talking, oh, you want to hang a picture, you can use, I don't know, like nails and hammer, you can use like screwdriver, you can use power
Yeah.
drill, but you need to know how to use power drill and you need to know when screwdriver is more than sufficient and when power drill is too much.
Mm.
And it's not as these tools are not really as simple as that because um, again, coding is, is much more complex than drilling walls. So it's a good analogy as far as analogies go, but it's losing validity very fast, I think, when we go into the weeds. I know, Paul, I'm sure you have some thoughts on because AI is
Well,
kind of your
I
thing.
actually I have meta thoughts on this.
Okay.
And actually one of my things is a meta thought on this stuff.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm quiet now is because
All right.
like there's a bridge to what I'm thinking about too. So
Awesome. All right. So
yeah,
then
yeah.
let's see. Then let's wait for your wish. But this will be essentially kind of my thoughts as I was watching this session, pretty much.
Mm.
But it is an interesting session, which I would recommend. Second subject, it's a little bit odd. So I saw this post. I don't really want to advertise this post because I don't like this type of post. It starts with essentially making some allegations about SAP partners, how they given information to the customers, etc. So to me, I thought this was reserved more for like political stuff, where you would get, it's election season in the U.S., so I'm sure everyone in
Yeah.
the U.S. you got tons of mail saying how Joe Schmo is wrong for insert state name, wrong for you, or right for you, right for something for some reasons. But at least those political ads, they do have specific candidate name
Yeah.
making this kind of statement like, oh, there are people. This is essentially they're eating your dog's equivalent of I think SAP related LinkedIn posts. So
So
I don't think, yeah.
what is this guy trying to say here?
I actually have no idea. I think it's pretty typical to start with some wild allegation because you want to bring it down to some kind of point you want to make. I don't want to scroll below it. There is more. I think the
Okay.
main point is
Yeah.
hire my company essentially because
Oh
other
yeah.
guys are bad. That's where this is going. Yeah, you don't even need to see it. When you read this
Yeah.
post, you know exactly where this goes. There is a lot of like some nonsense in the middle, like this sentence, like I have no idea what he's even saying, but this is more like a lie issue. I don't want to write like a rant about wild LinkedIn posts that make no sense while also throwing shade on SAP partners. But remember, Paul, we did last year at Tech Connect, we did very short roundtable about finding the right partner for you.
Hmm.
So I thought that in general, subject of looking for the right partner and how do you find whichever partner is best for your situation. I think that's still a worthy subject to dig up our road slides and maybe expand more on this subject for a newsletter.
Hmm.
So basically, this story will be just about um, SAP, finding SAP consultants, SAP partners, etc. What would
Yeah.
be the best for you? So this basically just gave me it was a trigger for some of my own thoughts, but
Is
honestly,
it?
this
I
post
mean,
is.
yeah, I wish
dumpster fire.
like I have this why can't I quit you
Yeah.
thing with LinkedIn.
Ah,
Like I kind of hate it, but it's kind of necessary.
yeah.
And like I mean, I think I don't do a good enough job of filtering out garbage.
Mm,
I probably should try to do a better job of that. Do more of the hide or like unfollow or block or whatever people. I
mm,
should probably do more
mm,
of that. And the same thing with Twitter. Like I think I've deleted and reinstalled Twitter on my phone like twice this year
mm.
already, because I'll find myself stuck in scroll hell. And
Yeah,
then as I'm in there, I'm like, there's like, how do I find the not garbage?
yeah.
Like Twitter, I've done a better job of curating stuff, and I
Mm,
have like lists and stuff, and so I go to my list and I'm like, oh, my safe space, right? The
yeah,
my like my for you thing at Twitter is complete garbage.
yeah,
Just ugh.
yeah,
But
yeah. Yeah,
LinkedIn, I haven't found my magic like recipe. I sometimes I find stuff to click like on, but I don't comment and post as much as I maybe could, just because like when I go in there and look through stuff, I'm like, I'm just drowning in garbage right now.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
It's not really optimized for consumption. I mean,
No.
I don't think it was meant to be platform like it's used right now, but it's only happened because Twitter went to complete crap.
Yeah.
So that's kind of necessity these days because that's the only thing that's left. That's if you want to hear some news about maybe events happening in SAP space or maybe some actual good posts or some good recommendations, that's the only way to find it because SAP
Mhm.
community is crap, Twitter is crap. I mean, LinkedIn is crap, but it's still at least manageable to the extent. So,
So what's the
and
theme? Everything is crap.
everything is crap. Everything is crap. So you pick your crap, and it's just yeah,
Yeah.
lesser crap. So that should be another story for
Yeah.
for maybe a New Year's edition.
Yeah.
All right, and the third one. So I've been doing kind of small development related story lately, and I think I might just continue with this trend. I'm still digging through my huge backlog of development related subjects that I was like, oh, good point or like good article, and I just
Right.
dumped them
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
into my backlog and never went back. So I went through that and I really like this one. It is a little bit ranty, which is which is totally my jam, and it's about use of interfaces in development. And for non-developers, interfaces here is not what you probably think. Interfaces, they are not like interface between SAP and some other system. No, these are literally like in ABAP ZIF. That's what
Yeah.
interface is. It's what you put on top of the class.
It's like the
Uh,
contract that describes what the class is.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So thank you, Paul, for giving us correct correct definition of what the heck is interface. So I'm totally with John here. I absolutely hate interfaces. I do understand that sometimes they're necessary evil, and sometimes not even as much as evil, maybe, but just purely necessary. SAP Gateway is one good example where I think
Mm,
this is like, yes, I totally
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
But some cases, and especially I think the way interfaces are advocated in ABAP is, oh, but you need them for unit testing. And this guy actually talks about testing here as well.
Mm,
Let's see, interface and testing. So what about testing? Yeah, what about it? So so there is, yeah, I'm sure in other languages there are different possibilities than in ABAP, but what I have been seeing is really, as the John suggesting here, interfaces are just being thrown in for the sake of it, and I don't like that a single bit. It's just making troubleshooting
mm,
anything and looking at anything just
yep.
live in hell because
Yeah.
now you cannot go directly to where the code is. You are presented with this, oh, there are like 10 interfaces. Which one do you want to
Yeah.
go to? Like, I don't know, like, where is my code? I need to look at what actual code is. So there is, yeah, some goodness in this.
There's like a it's just like it's just like almost everything. There's like a sweet spot
Yeah.
of like interface to class ratio, interface to whatever,
Yeah.
interface to actual code ratio, I guess maybe you'd say. Um, and when that ratio goes out of whack, like at least for me, all of a sudden I'm like, I think I'm losing my understanding
Yeah.
of the what it's doing
Yeah.
in favor of the well, what does the like those like dress pattern things you can buy at
Mm-hmm.
the like in favor of the dress pattern thing, I'm losing what's the dress,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, and typical analogy is, oh, like for example, Batman, like at night is Batman or whenever it's needed.
Hmm.
And then he's also what's his name? Bruce Wayne or
Bruce Wayne.
I'm not I'm not really I'm not really comic person, so I have to rely on
And this is
politics
Boring
these days.
Enterprise
Yeah.
Comics with
Yeah,
Yelena and
Brain
Paul.
Breaks Comics. Right, copyright by someone, Warner Brothers, I'm guessing. But that's a point. Like at some point, well, who is this person? I need to know who they are. Like what do they stand for?
Mm,
What do they do in general? Not their persona. So yeah, that's definitely causing some
mm.
problems, some friction in ABAP space. So these are my three stories.
Oh no, I went
Paul,
fuzzy.
what's
Ah, I'm
yeah.
sorry. I hate when that
Paul,
happens.
Paul went Batman
Sorry,
on
God.
us. So
You can't, you guys can't
hearing
know who I actually am. Yeah.
yeah, Paul's
Um,
fuzzy interface.
I'm fuzzy interface.
Sweet.
Okay, here's my stuff. Um, I've got
Ooh.
like 7 or 8 links, but I've got 3 subjects, but I'm like it's kind of a mix and like to find what I'm gonna say, I have to like refer to more things, I think a little bit. But
Mm,
anyway. So
yeah.
like third quarter results for SAP are in. Pretty strong stuff overall. I what I keep every time I read like super strong things from SAP in their quarterly results. First of all, I'm that's good. Like I think
Mm,
overall, like I think I'm not a direct investor, but I mean like my mutual fund probably touches SAP somewhere, right?
mm,
So like, so hooray, and also supports my career, so that's great too. But I always think there's like this like somehow there's a tension sometime between like SAP as a company doing like share price stuff that's great for the company, and then like practitioner stuff, like doing the things that we do to like make the engine go for our customers or companies or whatever. And part of that mixed in there is all of the like just the continuing rigmarole, the continuing whatever of like S/4HANA adoption,
mm,
right? And because like I think I didn't read this fully in depth yet, but there's a lot of stuff here that's really great that then kind of like if you're grumbling about like S4 HANA adoption and whether your company can like make the business case for this or that or whatever, or if you're just going to be one of the you just be like screw it, we're just going to be the laggards and not do it for a while and go out of support, like which I think a lot of places are. Um, you have to kind of, I guess, recognize the sort of the weird like juxtaposition may be the right word of like we've paid SAP millions of dollars over the years and we are still using their product, but like they don't like us anymore, essentially, right?
yeah.
It's just such a weird customer place to be. I don't envy SAP because in SAP shoes, I don't know what I would do. I honestly don't know what I would do if I was SAP either, but like I always get this like rubbing up against each other kind of thing of like the voice of the customer and the ASIC surveys and that kind of stuff versus the like, holy crap, look at our results. Aren't you glad we're so rich kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
somewhere in there is the point that I'm going to make, but I don't know what the point is yet. But that's the first thing I'm going to write about. Um, Other thing I was thinking about is like you've seen like Gartner Hype Cycle stuff, obviously a number of
Yeah.
times. You've seen Gartner also has the Magic Quadrant as one of their like
Mm.
explainer graphic things. Forrester has the wave like methodology that I'm sure you've seen that too,
Yeah.
right? Where you did like enterprise vendors and software vendors and tech vendors and that kind of stuff kind of get, I mean, under the covers, it almost feels like the same thing in some sense,
Yeah.
right? But like the thought I had, and who know, I don't even know if this is going to work. This is probably a dumb thing to even think about. But in my head, I kind of want to like, I want to put those things on top of each other a little bit. Like I want to put like the Gartner categories into a Gartner Magic Quadrant, right? I want to kind of think about like what are the leaders category wise? Is like low code a leader? Is enterprise metadata, whatever the heck, visionary? Is like Gen AI for code development a niche player? Like that I kind of want to like just play around and like make a magic quadrant of magic quadrants, right? Or create a hype cycle chart where the magic quadrants are the bumps on the hype cycle, and think about it that way, because that could be kind of interesting. So I'm gonna try to like find some, or maybe have AI make me a little like magic quadrant maker thing so I can put like the things in there and then have it plot out magic quadrants in the magic quadrants kind of thing. Who knows? This could be a terrible idea and maybe it'll go nowhere. But
You should,
I kind of like playing around with the like all these vendors trying to do their like
yeah.
thing that communicates something that sometimes does and sometimes doesn't communicate it, you know?
We should
But
create our own some
yeah,
kind of I don't know
that
terminal, some geometric figure. I don't know, and
man,
we should do more because Forester is more like one dimension that waves. This one quadrant is kind of I mean it
kind of
pretends to be two
2D-ish.
dimension, but
Yeah.
it's one. This one is definitely two dimension. We should go further and make it like 3D
Like,
or 4D
yeah, like
experience where
the
we sprinkle like water in your face or something
the
through
Boring
your
Enterprise
laptop
like
camera. Boring Enterprise, I don't
Tesseract or
know,
something. Yeah.
geometric, yeah,
Yeah.
something, something, yeah, Octa, whatever. I don't know. Need to make up some Greek
That,
sounding
oh my
words.
gosh. That's okay. That's a good idea. Maybe I'll do that. I went fuzzy again. Sorry about that, guys. But maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make a Boring Enterprise geometric figure and plot some of our stories and or things that we tend to talk about a lot on our Boring Enterprise quadrant or
Nice, yeah,
hyper
and less,
hyper
less
hyper quadrant. That's what we're gonna
hyper.
do.
Yeah, there you
There's
go.
gonna be like 6 dimensions to it. You can't comprehend it in your brain.
Hyper quadrant TM.
Okay, final thing. Um, this ties back to what you were talking about, Yelena. Um, so the jumping off point was I was kind of reading through this blog from Stack Overflow, and they have like a an attendant like podcast that goes with the blog piece that I was listening to. But I as I was listening to it, and then I'll go on like Hacker News or Reddit or whatever, and I'll be reading threads about this, that, whatever. I'll be on Twitter and I'll see a thread about this, whatever. Somebody made a comment a couple weeks ago, and that's stuck in my head for a while, which is that like the AI assisted code writing or the AI assisted software development or whatever you want to call that thing that's going on now, it's got this bimodal distribution kind of thing where there's like a hump on the like I hate it side, and then there's kind of a quiet middle, and then there's a hump on the I love it side, right? Where it feels like so many people or so many of the like nerd types are in a space of like either I can't stand it. Why would people use this? I don't like this. And on the other side, there's the like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I could live without this kind of stuff. I was watching I briefly watched Scott Hanselman, who's a great Microsoft like developer evangelist. He's like a VP of that
Hmm.
now. And he had Mark Sinovich, who is the CTO of Azure, I think now. And this guy, the CTO of Azure guy, he's like, I basically can't write code anymore, or I would refuse to write code these days without an AI assistant helping me write the code. And that is like so different than so many other people have their perspectives. And there's like a couple different ways to slice it too. I think there's one is where like a lot of it is like it depends on like the environment that you work in, right? So like I have in the past year, I have only I've written maybe 1,000 lines of ABAP all year, maybe. I
Hmm.
just haven't done as much ABAP as I normally do in the course of a year in this calendar year. I've done a lot more Python. I've done a lot more like React and things like that. and the ABAP I wrote was like much earlier in the year, so there were fewer tools out there anyway. Um, when I was writing the ABAP, I didn't really miss my AI code helper tools. When I write React or Python or other JavaScript stuff or whatever, I definitely feel like that Mark Russinovich CTO guy, where like the the accelerator is the foot is on the accelerator for me. I am sped way up when I use that stuff. But I also think that there's probably something in there where it's like it's not it's not just it's not just is this particular like programming environment well represented in the like AI training data, right? And it's not just like does your business or company like allow you to use these things, but it's also part of it I think too is that like I think human brains and human psychology is so different among people that I kind of think to myself, and I don't know how to write this, so I don't know whether I'm going to write this, but I'm going to say it now, is that like I think many people who are like software developers or who write code, they think about the universe, especially the code writing universe, in such different ways that it truly doesn't make sense for some
Yeah.
people to use the
Yeah.
AI assisted things. And it truly does make sense for other people because, and I don't know what the details of it are, but some people just view the code writing universe in such a different way that like it makes no sense to them to try to use these things. And other people, it's the complete opposite. And like, I don't even know how you would like I'm sure somebody out there is studying like the psychology of developers who use AI tool. I should probably look for that. Out there and like seeing what like maybe there's a personality test that will tell you if you're a good fit for AI assisted code writing, and maybe some other personalities are just not a good fit for it. And that has not, I think that has basically nothing to do with whether you're actually a productive developer or not. It just maybe will tell you whether you are somebody who can work well with a tool like that kind of working with you, right? But man, I have so much like my only problem here is this, and I'm finding it hard to boil down to like a bite-sized story, right? I think there's so
Mm.
much here that I don't know if I have. I think I might have too much to say about this to like say it in a few paragraphs, right? So that's my problem here, and I'll have to find like a slice of this to to poke. Maybe it'll be the psychology tests for
Yeah.
developers kind of thing.
Developer personalities. Yeah,
Yeah.
there have been, I think, humorous articles like way back in the days about different developer personas. Those are early days of internet, like early 2000s, like Rockstar or like Diva and stuff like that. I think they
Mm.
did not go away. They might have changed just slightly, but I think what you kind of pointed at is and this article says it's new pair programming. Well, in some developers, they're not really great, great fans of pair programming in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
So that might have something to do with that in principle. So I don't know.
There's so like I mean just like every time I try to think about it, there's like another dimension to the Boring Enterprise hyper quadrant uh of thinking about like AI programming. It's so complex.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my last thing. Who God knows what it'll turn out to be when I actually write it up. It'll be a slice of that somewhere, but that's the thing there. So I'll stop sharing. Yelena, I'm so
Uh-huh.
blurry. I'm so sorry, you guys. This is gonna suck as a video. Oh man, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I think
We'll figure it out.
I'll just cut out your your face fall from your LinkedIn profile and just
Just like float the head.
superimpose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there you
Man,
go.
that
So well,
I'm sorry.
it's
I'll have to
well
get a different
it
camera or
was
something.
Halloween yesterday, so we can say that
So
we're
I
still
just went as a blurry guy, right?
yeah, it's a
It's still
ghost
Halloween.
of
Yeah.
fall got pixelized for this
Well,
edition.
oh, and look at that. Now I'm back to regular life.
Yay!
Somebody
Nice.
did a seance and resurrected me.
We
So guys, long story short, thank you once again for watching our Nerdletter Talk. I hope you are excited, enthused, or alternatively maybe hateful and mad about what we're trying to say here. Either way, leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for watching, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.